Hello, this is Warren Powell. Uh, this is a fresh approach to teaching optimization from deterministic optimization to sequential decision problems. This is based on a talk that I first gave at Cornell University's Operation Research and Information Engineering Department in April of 2025. This is part one, optimizing decisions. I'm going to start with a little overview of the problems I've worked on personally. Upper left-hand corner trucking. So I've done a lot of work in trucking, truckload trucking, less than truckload parcel. Worked for a number of years optimizing locomotives at Norfolk Southern Railroad, did air cargo. For 10 years, I ran an energy systems lab. There's a whole range of nice optimization problems there. Logistics, lower left-hand corner, manufacturing, how to optimize the manufacturing process, e-commerce. Now, all of these are examples of human processes. And every time you put humans in there, we make decisions and we have uncertainty as information evolves. And what we're trying to do is to do something better. We'd like to increase profits or reduce costs. Maybe I'd like to increase the strength of material, minimize waste, or reduce my carbon footprint. Now, I like to divide problems into two classes. One is what I call decision-focused problems. Now, this is where there's a very clear decision: locating warehouses, ordering inventories, routing trucks, scheduling people. And then there's metric focus problems where we know the metric, we know what we want to accomplish. Maybe we don't initially know exactly what decisions to make. Now, either of these are problems that we'd like to work on. Now, I have an activity I call framing the problem. If you want to run a better supply chain, energy system, health system, anything, you have to make better decisions. Now, framing the problem, I'm going to represent is starting with posing and answering three questions. What are your performance metrics? What decisions do you have to make and who makes them? And what are your sources of uncertainty? So I think this lays the foundation for any time that you want to be solving a problem. Now, in this talk, I'm going to address the accomplishments of these two men. These are titans of or pillars of optimization. George Dantzig, who invented the simplex algorithm and made deterministic optimization very popular, and Richard Bellman, who pioneered Bellman's equation. Now, linear programming is the conventional thinking is that linear programming is a powerful tool widely used for many applications, whereas dynamic programming is really more elegant theory, primarily for PhD students with limited applicability. Over the course of this talk, I'm going to reverse this way of thinking, and so by the end, hopefully give you a fresh perspective of the contributions of both of these gentlemen. So, part one, optimizing decisions. Let's take my set of activities, and what I'm going to do is every one of these boxes, which relates to the picture behind the box, poses a question. And the question, we have to make a choice. We like to make the best choice. So each one of these boxes is a type of decision that has to be made. Now, decisions come in three broad categories. There's decisions that act on the physical world, managing inventory, scheduling nurses, locating facilities. There's financial decisions, managing cash flows, investments, pricing, arranging loans. And then informational decisions, sending and receiving information, running experiments in the lab or the field to learn something, marketing and advertising, sharing information about my product with the market, or testing drugs. Now, let's take a simple problem of finding the best path through a network. I might be at node 2, and I can go to nodes 4, 5, or 6. I want to find the best one. This is the shortest path problem. I think we've known how to solve this for a number of decades. Much more complicated is optimizing facility locations. I might have 100 locations where I can locate 10 facilities, and the number of combinations of these is extremely large. Now, a major breakthrough in operations research was airline scheduling. And using the mathematics of optimization, I can go out to this airline, collect a lot of data, put it into this format, and we have software that will then produce an airline schedule. Now, this was a major breakthrough, but it was a big accomplishment. Now, one of the features of deterministic optimization is that there's a language, a mathematical language that everybody speaks. So no matter where you have learned this field from any country in the world, you're going to learn this mathematics, and it's pretty much all due to the contributions of George Dantzig, who popularized this. So this language is spoken around the world. There's many books all speaking this, a number of computer packages. And if you need to hire this skill set, there's, a few thousand graduate students graduating every single year with this skill set. Now, let's take a look at this picture. Crowded urban street, all full of bright professionals, probably most of them, let's assume all of them have college degrees. Now, answer the question, how many of them do you think have heard of the phrase linear program? And I'm going to guess very few. This just isn't something that people have heard of very much. Now, how many of them make decisions? And you're going to say, whoa, wait a minute. All humans make decisions. So I tend to think of decisions as like the fish in the sea, and there's, just trillions of them, and they're sort of everywhere. Now, math programs are more like whales, okay? They're very big and they're very important, but there's not very many of them. I think there's a lot of commercial fishermen probably can go their entire lives without ever catching a whale. So no doubt they're important. It's just that they're not very common. Now, the most common decision problem is this choosing from the best of a set of discrete choices. And I got a lot of examples off to the left there where I have to do trial and error. And what makes these problems hard is the uncertainty. I don't know which one is best. I might think choice E is best, but I'm not really sure. And there's different ways to learn more. I could run other experiments, or I can just try one, see how it works, and then come back and try it again. So this is what I'm going to claim is sort of the universal problem that all of those well-educated people in the city street, in fact, they do have to solve this problem. Oddly, that we don't routinely teach this at universities. Now, these discrete learning problems have different dimensions. You can have inexpensive experiments that take microseconds to seconds to minutes. And you can have expensive experiments like laboratory experiments, things you have to do in the field. They can take an hour to a day or a week or a month. I can name experiments that take a year to learn. Now you have offline learning, which is in the lab or the computer, and online learning, which is what you actually have to do in the real world. And there's a lot of that going on. Now, over the course of this talk, I'm going to delve into this in much greater depth. By the way, there is a URL here. This is a web page of links. It's a resources web page for a lot of other information if you're interested in the talk.